Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Eileen, and for those of you on YouTube, it's Medicine Walk, and for those of you on Blog Talk Radio, it's Healing House Radio. Now, we got this sort of. I last week I said that I wanted to be able to do an episode and have it be pre-recorded, which I did. I did do that, and it created a little bit of a problem because the editing is okay. So it looks like YouTube is having a little bit of a difficulty for some reason. I don't know, but we will go on and we will figure that it's recording okay. So anyway, what it is, or what it was, that I was trying to be able to get certain things in, and the episode overall, there was a problem with the audio. So overall the episode was okay for a first attempt, but I didn't want to try to download it for the actual episode. So it is on YouTube, and after this I'm going to be posting and sharing the link for that so you guys can take a look at it, because really it's today is kind of a follow-up for yesterday, or for the recording that I did. So anyway, hi. I hope you're having a great week, and I hope things are going well, and if they're not, I'm sorry, and hang in there. And I do mean that. I know that right now there's a lot of things that are going on that are really tough for a lot of folks. So if you're one of them, my heart goes out to you. And the discussion that we had was regarding cyberbullying. And it's that tendency for people to go on rants and just decide that it's okay to just kind of go off and get very personal. And social media can be really great, because what it can do is it can give us an opportunity to be able to connect, be able to support one another, and all of that cool stuff. But on the flip side of it is that idea that, people get to be a little bit anonymous, and they may say things that they would not normally say to someone's face. So there is that piece of it. And the talk that I had that's on the recorded video, I talked a little bit about that. So I'm not going to repeat that, because hopefully you'll go and see it once I share the link. And what I'm going to talk about is what happens afterwards. And what I mean by what happens afterwards is, how do we find closure in ourselves excuse me, when we've been hurt? And how are we able to do that in a way that allows us to make peace with what happened without necessarily that person being involved? And it's tough, because people can, really, just let you have it. And then you've got all of this emotion and all of these feelings that are kind of built up, and there's no place for them to go. So it makes it really, really hard, especially if the other person is not inclined to be the, you know what, I was totally wrong, I'm sorry type of person. If they're the, well, I think I was right. So how do we find closure when the other person does not acknowledge what they've done, or make any real effort to be able to find peace with that? And for some, they just choose to just stay angry. And it is an option, it is a way. I would not recommend it, because what that does, especially if you're in a relationship with someone that you're connected to, and someone that that you're going to see a lot, maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a family member. So hold on just a second. Okay, so I just had a weird kickback in my microphone. So, um, anyway, hopefully this hasn't turned the volume totally down. So we'll do that. All right. So the idea is that that there has to be a way for you to be able to come to peace with what happened in a way that allows you to let it go, because a part of it is that releasing. Now, this doesn't mean that what they did was okay. It doesn't mean that what they said was okay. It doesn't mean that they're getting away with anything. What it means is that you are able to say, whether they take action or not, whether they acknowledge it or not, whether they make an apology or not, I can still be okay. And I can still walk in this world and be the person that I want to be, the person that I choose to be. Because that's the important part. This is about you. This isn't about them. This is about your ability to walk in this world and to enjoy yourself and to be able to be kind to people and to not lose your ability to trust and not shut yourself down. Because if you shut yourself down, then that doesn't serve anything. It certainly doesn't serve all the good you do in the world, because I know that there's a lot of good you do in the world. There's a lot of people that you comfort. There's a lot of people that you're there for. And when we let resentments build up and build up inside of us, it kind of cuts into our ability to be able to give as openly as we do, because there's always this, hey, if I give, I'm going to get hurt. So that is an important piece, to be able to separate what was said or what was done, what happened, from your ability to go out and trust in people and still be compassionate and not worry about the fact that something's going to bounce back on you and you're going to get hurt again. Because in cases like that, where somebody has been hurtful, one of the main things is you don't want to get hurt again. You want to do whatever you can in order to avoid experiencing that level of hurt again. So it's okay to really explore that, to explore how hurt you were. You don't have to say, well, it was okay, or I understand that they're like that, or well, it's just some jerk. No, because what that does is that diminishes what it is that you're feeling. It diminishes your right to feel hurt by what somebody does. So when you're dealing with somebody who has just kind of, in whatever way, maybe it wasn't social media, maybe you found out they were talking about you behind your back. Maybe you found out, just whatever, that, they said something to you that was very either dismissive or hurtful in whatever way. If the other person isn't willing to take ownership of it, then it does not reduce each of our obligations to take ownership of what our stuff is. And it may be that you just tell the person, you know what, that was not okay. That was not cool. It was very hurtful. And I really feel that I deserve an apology for that. Because there's nothing to say that you cannot ask for an apology from somebody. They may or may not give it. Because if my feeling is if they were inclined to give an apology, that they would have just said, oh, you know what, I was totally out of line. But if you're dealing with somebody who doesn't go along with that, then you just have to, you state what you have to state, say what you have to say, because that's a part of getting it outside of you, so it's not churning up inside of you. And they don't have to acknowledge anything. If they don't want to apologize, if they want to start a big story, you don't have to listen to a story. You can walk away. Now, in some cases, it isn't even about telling the person who they are. It's just like, you know what, we're done for a little while. You don't have to have anyone justify anything to you. And if you need time to process your hurt, then you take that time within yourself. Where does this live inside of me? What is this triggering? Why is this hurting me as much as it is? because that's an important question, because if you can figure out why it triggered you in the way that it did, often that's a way to find those places inside of ourselves that maybe we still need a little bit more healing. And it is, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking your time to really study and explore something. Maybe they say, well, I'm okay, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And that's not a real apology. We all know that's not a real apology. Or, it's like, well, that was a while ago, just let it go. And no, you don't have to do that. Pain, emotional pain is not on a calendar. It's not on a stopwatch. It is for you to figure out what it is that you need to do in the healing time that you need. Sometimes it can be, really quick. Somebody bumps into you in a line and, maybe they walk off, or, they, maybe they turn around and say, oh, excuse me, sorry. And then they go on, or, maybe they just walk off. Well, maybe they didn't realize they bumped into you, or maybe they're just a jerk. So the idea is, what do you do with it then? Do you let it make you angry and resentful? It's like, man, that person really, they disrespected me. People are always disrespecting me. People are just so disrespectful all the time, and nobody cares about my feelings. And so the next person that comes up to you gets it with, like, bam. And that's how it goes from one person to another. If, you just think to yourself, man, that was a thing. That was kind of rude. That person, obviously, they need to work on a few things. Maybe they need to, change their attitude today. But it doesn't have to lead to a confrontation. It can just be, sometimes people are jerks. And if we can embrace that sometimes people are jerks, then it makes it a lot easier to be able to not take it so personally. Now, if this is somebody who is like a friend or a longtime acquaintance, and they say or do something hurtful, or, they go on the social media rant about you, yeah, that's usually something that needs to be addressed. How you address it is up to you. You can lash back, which pretty much almost never really resolves anything. Understand that, and I mentioned this in the other video, if someone is lashing out and ranting and venting and all this stuff, they're not interested in resolution. That's not their priority. That's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for resolution. They're not looking for a way to resolve it. They're looking to express themselves and have others witness that, and seek validation for what they do. So it's, so resolution, both of you have to be on the same page, wanting to see the thing. It's like, what, this happened. It was not okay. We need to talk about this, and let's get this cleared up right now. If somebody is not interested in that, all they want to do is vent and rant and do their thing. So let them have there's a little thing floating around there. That's why I did that. It's like, oh, Dr. Eileen is doing random things. But if people, are not able to help you find closure, then you can still find it in yourself. And the biggest part of that is accepting that, that sometimes people are just going to act in their nature. If it's somebody and if they do this a lot, they're kind of a serial cyberbully, and they have a tendency to go off on rants, and everybody goes, well, that's just them. It's like, that doesn't mean there's no consequences. That doesn't mean it's okay. That doesn't mean that they should not be held accountable. And they probably will, because, if a person does that too many times, after a while, people start to want to tell them about themselves. The question is that when you are dealing with trying to process that, make sure that you don't make the processing more difficult by adding more stuff onto it. Keep things as an isolated incident. That person said something to me that I didn't like. And Don't bring in all the other stuff that happens. Stick with what it is that you know, and stick with what it is that is the experience in that moment. That person borrowed my sweater without asking me. And it doesn't matter that, they always borrow my things without asking me. No, deal with the one sweater that time. It's not okay. And so from now on, I'm going to make sure that they don't have access to my things. I am not going to let them just borrow things and not return them. Or I'm not going to allow myself to be taken advantage of, because it's about what's going on inside of you. It's about not feeling like, you want to rush into battle, but taking time and saying, you know what? I think that this person and I need some space, because I'm not feeling really good about what's going on between us. And they may justify, they may try to turn it on you, they may try to, well, it's like, what, as soon as the well yous start getting unpacked, there is no effective communication happening, and it's probably not going to happen. So just say, you know what, I'm letting you know that wasn't okay, and I'm going to work on processing this myself. And if that person wants to, step up, take ownership and say, you know what, you're right, I really was out of line, I'm sorry. And I mean, like, looking you in the face, I am sorry. That can do a lot to alleviate it. But if the person just snorts, says you're unreasonable, and walks off, you have no less a responsibility to go inside with that and say, okay, well, that's them. Now, how do I choose to be? What is my ownership of what I'm feeling right now, and what do I want to do with it? Do I want to vent it out, or do I want to say that, well, sometimes people are not so nice, and I will consider that whether or not I want this person still in my life. And if it's somebody like a family member who has to still be in your life, you can say, well, I will decide how much I deal with them. I will decide whether or not when I walk in the room, it's just a civil hello and walk away. Don't let someone turn you into someone you're not. Don't let anyone's meanness turn you into a person that's more like them, because that's not you. You're nice, and you're kind, and you're helpful, and you do your best to help make the world a little bit better than it was. So don't let anybody take that away from you. Don't let anybody's rudeness ruin your faith in humanity. Don't let anyone's act of selfishness or lack of consideration, because it really does come from a fear place inside of them. It has almost nothing to do with you. This is about what's going on inside of that person. So don't let yourself get sucked in. Decide that bad things sometimes happen, that sometimes bad days happen, and people make choices. And you can leave the responsibility where it lies, with the person who started it. You don't have to feel that anger. You don't have to let that gnaw inside of you, because it's very bad for your health. It's very bad for, you as a person to be carrying around that stuff, because it just really is it's a waste of energy. It is an absolute waste of energy. And you don't need to be wasting energy. You can use your energy to go out and have fun with your friends, and go to a movie, or go do some volunteer work, or help out an older person, or help out a child, or make somebody else laugh. It's amazing how doing something for someone when you're feeling like you've been slighted, to go and find something that you can do to bring good in the world. to have somebody appreciate you, to have that person look at you and say, man, I really appreciate this, to let someone ahead of you in a line in a grocery store because, they've only got a few things and you've got a bunch. And they look at you and smile and say, thank you so much. Or, to let somebody through an intersection, first, safely assuming there's no lights, but, just to let somebody have a nice gesture made towards them. Because what that does is that reduces that, yuck that's inside of you from somebody trying to toss their insecurities over to get it to stick to you. It's just makes sense to prefer to be happy rather than not. It makes sense to allow yourself the opportunity to feel good. What somebody says about you has nothing to do with who or what you are. And more than likely, people are not listening to them as much as they think. It's okay. Like I said in the other video, let them have the last word, because really, they're probably the only one listening to it. Everybody else has got other stuff to do. So do you. You've got all that good stuff that you do in the world to do. And the world needs you to do it, because we could use all the good thoughts and the good actions that we can get, especially right now. So go out there and enjoy and embrace and laugh. There's an old saying that the best revenge is to live well and happily. So do that. Live well and happily. And allow yourself to accept that sometimes people are just jerks. But that's okay, because that's not who you are. And they can't make you into it. And good for you. Let them go. So thank you for joining me. And as I said, I'm going to be posting up the link for the video that I pre-recorded. And if the audio is a little bit off, then forgive me. But I was very excited to put it together. And this, the talk was, I really felt very good about it. So I didn't want to just erase it or try to do it over again, because when I share stuff, it's just sort of what comes out. I don't have any notes. I don't have anything written up. It's just what comes out. And that's what came out. And that's what I wanted to share. So I do have it. And hopefully between now and next week, I will be able to get those last few tweaks and be able to get the audio going and get a better microphone. So it's always about getting better. It's always about moving forward. And it's always about us doing it together. So thank you. And if you like this, then you can you can subscribe, you can comment, because I do check the comments. And you could always follow me on either Twitter, or you can join the group that I have on Facebook, which is Medicine Walk with Dr. Eileen. And the links are in the description. So again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for your patience. And, at some point, we'll have this all put together, technologically speaking. It's one of the few times when I can actually enjoy saying, I'm a doctor, damn it, not an engineer, or an audio person, or a video person, whatever. We'll find a way. So until next time, I wish you balance, and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you. Bye.